Hey y'all, it's Shelly and I am Scrappy Longstocking. Today I am here to scrapbook my project life pages for August 31st through September 6th in my 2025 album. I have a lot on this page. I started down here and then I moved over to here so that I could get everything included. This was my vacation week and I have quite a few photos. I want to include some ephemera and some of the storyteller kit. Plus I have to include my regular items. I have some stuff from July storyteller kit that I wanted to include. Here's some stickers that I got. I went to Biloxi, Mississippi for a week. And then, well, almost a week. I went for 6 days just so that I could have an extra day. So right now, I'm thinking that I'm going to start how I usually do and sort out my pages. This one is for my September calendar. I'm still in September, so I probably should just put this in here so I remember that I need to put something on the back as well. So I'm going to put this in here temporarily and set it aside. This is the 2025 4x6 card with the month on it that I always use at the beginning of each month along with this. The first day of this week is, kind of want something colorful to go behind there. So the first day of this week is in August. And that's fine. I'll probably put the August day on the 3x4. And then, because that was just my travel day. And then the rest of the days, I have the back of this 4x6. And I have one of these that I want to use. Live in the sunshine, swim in the sea, drink the wild air. Or smell the sea, feel the sky, and let your soul and spirit fly. So one of those two. I have this storyteller kit page, which has the misprint on it, but you guys, it took me forever to find where the misprint was before I watched the video that Allie Edwards pointed it out in the kit classroom. So here's some pieces from a Studio Calico kit because I was sort of at the beach. That one's not for this week. We have September Adventures. You Belong Here. Good lines, good times and tan lines. I did want to use that during this week if I could. So these are some pieces from the July Stories by the Month kit that I had set aside along with some Studio Calico items. That's where that went. So there's some items for July. There's some items from August. There's some items from my storyteller kits. And then I used the digital version of these suns to make an 8.5 by 11 background paper. As soon as I saw these suns, I wanted to do this. I'm happy with how it came out. I just resized them, moved them around. I think all of them. I may have lightened some and because these three are the same, and so I may have lightened some by changing the amount of translucence. So what else do I got? I have a, let's see, what size is this? 2.5 by 3.5 insert. So it's an 8.5 by 11 page that fits inside of my 9 by 12 pages. So I have some photos specifically for that. And then the right hand side is 3x3 pages. And so what my plan is generally is I decided to, so I scrapbook Sunday to Saturday, top to bottom, left to right. With the insert, what my thoughts are is to go use the insert the same way as if it's a continuation of this left page. And so it'll go the left page, the right insert, and that the left side, the back side of the right insert will be left, and then the right 8.5 by 11, and then the right 9 by 12. So I hope you all followed along with me for that. And so basically, it'll be in order as you look at the pages between them. And since I also need to include this page, I hadn't intended on that. So I'll have to think about what to put here, because I did not plan to put anything on there when I was doing this. And so it may just be long journaling, like a 4x6 card and a filler card, or 2 filler cards, or I may go ahead and use cut this down to fit inside of this page protector. It looks like the words will just barely fit on there, so I may cut that down and just insert it in there on the back side of that so that I can use that as well. So right now I think I'm going to put you all on fast forward and do a mix of voiceover plus just music. So I went ahead and put you all on about 2.5 times fast forward for the majority of this video. The total amount of time I spent on these pages was somewhere around 2.5 hours of recorded time. And I didn't want to cut too much out, and I didn't want the video to be too long. So I started by sorting things out and going ahead and trying to put the photos in order as I usually do. I ended up with 3 inserts, which I did not intend to do, but decided to do, and I like how it turned out, along with the 9 by 12 left page and 9 by 12 right page. It ended up being that many pages because I chose a couple of photos from each day, and I think I just printed out too many pages, and I wanted to use the stickers that I bought because I bought them specifically to go into this album. I don't think I decided to get rid of any of the photos, and the photos that I chose represent what I did on each day. And I included a couple of journaling cards from my stash that I wanted to add in. So I did add that beach-bound card. I thought I used it the week before this week, but on my voiceover, but I actually decided to use the week after. That's completely irrelevant, and you guys probably really don't actually care. So Sunday was my driving day and check-in, and then I went and had dinner at the bar. I think I also went ahead and took some time to go and look around and see the actual Gulf Coast. I wanted to see that as well. Then the majority of my photos will take place between Monday and Thursday because Friday was my travel day back. And so I did not take a whole lot of pictures while I was traveling, and the photos that I did take, I think I chose not to bring with me. Each day, I tried to remember to take a photo of my outfit for the day in the mirror. I got this idea from Linda Loves Creating, but I'm not very good at taking mirror selfies, first of all. And I don't know why I didn't think to set up my tripod because it has a little remote and I can use my timer with that. So also my phone was acting up and I lost some of my photos, which is also kind of annoying, but I guess that's what I get for using my phone. So one of the first things I decided to do was go ahead and add in the photos. I still did the pages left to right, top to bottom, including the inserts from Sunday to Saturday. And I chose to do the 8.5 by 11 insert for this because I knew that I could fit all of the photos for each side of that insert on one piece of paper because I've been printing on the 8.5 by 11 papers. Additionally, I wanted the pages to fit inside of the 9 by 12, and I did not want to have the pages all be the same size so that you can tell when you're flipping through that it's all the same week. So I started on the bottom left row of the left page with my Monday photos. And then I continued Monday and I used the divider, used a journaling card as a divider between Monday and Tuesday. And Monday I hung around Biloxi and went to the pool and the grocery and things like that. And I explored the beach a little bit. And then Tuesday, I went to a nearby city called Ocean Spring, which had a museum in it that I wanted to try. And there was a beach there that I wanted to try, but I didn't go to. And then on the back of that page began Wednesday. And the whole back of that page is one day. I realized that I was going too slow on my vacation because I didn't do a lot on Monday. And so I needed to do, if I wanted to see more of the things that I had on my list, I would have to go a little bit faster. So Wednesday, I went to essentially two museums. And then I went to see the Katrina Memorial and I had lunch at the Hard Rock Cafe because that's one of the things I like to do when there's one in a city I'm vacationing at. So I printed out the photos for that. And then there's a journaling card that I think I do at the end, specifically about Hurricane Katrina, because this weekend was the 20th anniversary of the landing of Hurricane Katrina. Was I think on the Friday or the Saturday before I traveled. And so there was a whole lot surrounding it in the news, and I found it interesting that the information surrounding it, because I vaguely remembered the hurricane because clearly it was 20 years ago, and I lived in the north at the time, so it didn't affect me almost at all. And then the next page I was working on was I wanted to use that piece of paper that I created with the suns on it. And then as I realized I didn't have enough photos for both sides of the paper. And I could have spaced them out a little bit more, but I liked the grid. And so eventually what I did was I went to my stash and I grabbed a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock and cut it down. It was from, I think, an Echo Park kit, I want to say. And I cut it down and it had the green leaves and it matched some of the cards, like the leaf types matched some of the cards that were from the Stories by the Month kits that I had pulled and set aside. So the insert, so let's see, I had the first insert is the back of the baseball card size page protector. And then I found in my kit, so the front side with my yellow suns, I found in my mini kit that I set aside of supplies for this week a card from Studio Calico that had divided for days, and then it had the divider for notes along the bottom, and it said week of. And I thought that was a great card to just do a quick outline of what I did each day of the week. And sort of like my bullet point list, except I got a 4x6 card to do it in. And then I had some journaling along the bottom with some additional notes. On the back side was Thursday, and I used the Good Time and Tan Lines 4x6 card. I cut it down to fit, it's probably somewhere around 3.5 by 5.5 or 3.5 by 4, so that it would fit in the same spot. And I went to another nearby city called Bay St. Louis, and I went to see their visitor center, and which had a little art museum of folk art. And then I went to walk around the town a little bit, and I went to a Hurricane Katrina museum to learn more about the hurricane. I drove back and I found a beach called Long Beach, which amused me very, very much. Because my last name is Long. And so I stopped and I tried to take some photos. None of them really turned out very good because I was facing the sun as I was trying to take these selfies. And then I realized the selfie would make my background weird. So I ended up, it was just a shenanigan. So I was trying to flip the phone around. Anyway, not many of them turned out very well. And so I ended up just taking a picture of the beach itself and putting it in a 3x3 pocket. So I also stopped putting the photos in order and decided really quickly, what do I need to do with this calendar page? And I ended up deciding to go ahead and use the the 6x8 page, that size outside the page protector from the Color Storyteller kit, because I just really thought that it fit the vibe of this kit, or of these pages, with the quote that was on it. And I thought it went well with the suns, and I thought it went well with just the beach everywhere and the lighthouse and everything else. So I thought, well, since I just made that decision, I might as well pause myself and then go ahead and pick up and keep going. I also, let's see, so once Thursday, every day I went to the pool as well. And I took a photo of my view from one of the lounge chairs, and I added that in, and it sort of demarks the last days. So Friday was my last day at the hotel. It was my travel day back. It was my day to check out, and I chose it that way so that I could have Saturday. So I could have Friday as a travel day, Saturday as a cleanup day, and then Sunday to just sort of hang out around the house without anything to do before I went back to work on Monday. So I found some spots to add in. The stickers were sort of the last thing that I did, where I just decided, where should it go? How am I going to do it? The day that I left on Friday, I was leaving pretty early, and there was not a lot of traffic at the time, and there was not a lot of people on the beach. So before I left, I went ahead and I stopped and I took a 0.5 view photo of the beach so that I could have it where there wasn't a whole lot of people there getting in the way. And so I printed that out as a 3x6, and then I cut it in half and placed it across 2 pockets. Then I took a screenshot of the map for coming home from Biloxi, because I like to put those in the scrapbook as well. And then also on the bottom was my Saturday dinner group. And there was a horizontal view of the group there as well. And so I printed that at 3x6 and then put it across the two pockets. I took some time. I wanted to use the September Adventures 4x6 card, and I thought I felt very, very proud of my paper that I made. Maybe not proud is the word, but I liked it enough that I didn't want to cover up so much of it. And so I thought one of my ephemera stickers looked really nice with the yellow suns, and the circles were a sort of theme on that page. So I went ahead and used the circle of the turtle that said Biloxi. And then I just put my 2 4x6 cards on this page and called it good. So the journaling that I did about my vacation is just little bullet point journaling that says what I did on each day. And this card, the Sunday, is at the end, and I start my week on Sunday. And so I can't change it since the card is already there, and I didn't want to cover up the days of the week that were already there. So what I decided to do was date each one of the days of the week so that I would, looking back, would know that Sunday is at the beginning and not the end. I also didn't want to put the Sunday for the following week in this week. So my journaling for Monday was Shaggy's for lunch, hotel room change, Walmart for supplies, ice cream on the beach, poolside, and tacos for dinner. Tuesday was a day in Ocean Springs, art museum, po' boy sandwich, shopping, poolside, dinner, and a movie evening. Wednesday was the 3rd, and it says O'Keefe Art Museum, Hard Rock Cafe lunch, Katrina Memorial, Jefferson Davis House, pool, dinner at Woody's. Thursday says Bay St. Louis, Mardi Gras Museum, Folk Art Museum, Ground Zero Museum, ice cream, Long Beach, souvenirs, and poolside. Friday was travel to Arkansas, home, lunch on the road, resting with the cats at home. Saturday was home plus laundry plus dinner with friends group. And then Sunday was actually the first of the week, and it was travel day plus shrimp Caesar salad. And it was those Saturday and Sunday was such a short or small piece there that I didn't really have enough room to put much in. And for the most part, I just tried to do what would fit inside each one of those little spots. And then for the notes at the bottom of it, I wrote, I very much enjoyed the freedom of going on vacation by myself. I loved the freedom of choice and the peace. Evenings by the pool after days of fun and adventure. And I stepped out of my zone and experienced new things. So I included some journaling about, there was a morning and evening card. And so I chose some photos, or I chose to put in the morning card next to a photo where I was taking a picture of my morning outfit. And so I wrote, in the mornings, I read my Bible and had coffee, then decided what to do based on the weather forecast. It was a good idea to make a list of things to do by city ahead of time, and then I showered and dressed before leaving the hotel. In a couple of spots, I added a little detail with some label stickers, just here and there to just put some additional little information be about what was going on in the photo. For my Hurricane Katrina journaling, I wrote, "This weekend was 20 years since Katrina hit. The effects were devastating. I learned so much about it, and my heart swelled at such great pain and loss. I am glad I got to experience this now, and the overwhelm and recovery after such devastation impacts the heart." Just listening and learning and reading, there was a lot. It was so hard for those folks. So with the evening 3x4 card, I cut off the bottom in the evening portion of it, and then I just taped it on top of the card itself so that it would make a 3x4 card. And in the pocket, you kind of have to look pretty hard to even be able to tell that I did that. And so what I wrote was, "My evenings began at the pool, resting in the warm sun, followed by TV, then dinner and bed. This is what vacation is supposed to be like. Love this trip." I also pulled out some of the yellow August stories by the month kit word phrase stickers, and I just put a couple of them in a couple of spots. I did not want to make these pages too busy, and the products really supported the story that I was telling for this whole week, and the colors went really well together, even though I was using, I think altogether I used 3 or 4 kits and products that were by 3 different companies plus the ephemera, and I think it just it mixes together and it matches at the same time. So that is the extent of what I've done on these pages. And I think I've already said it, but I want to say it again. I could not tell on that 7x8.25 page, the double I could not tell. I had to go and look for it. Every time I look at it, I see it now, but I don't think I care that it has the double I. I thought about covering it up with something or trying to fix it in some way or cut it out. But I just needed a filler spot for that page right there. And I decided to flip it so that it's on the front of the pocket instead of letting the calendar be on the front. I decided to do that because it's the theme of the week is hanging out in the sun, enjoying beautiful things, going to museums, and just doing vacation touristy things. And it really does explain what this week was. As I sat by the pool, I laid in the sun, I looked around, and I just took pictures of beautiful things. And so that's why I decided to use that page there.
The Good Times and Tan Lines card says, Waveland is right next to Bay St. Louis, and this is where Katrina hit the hardest. The eye came over this tiny town and destroyed it all the way to the railroad tracks. You can still see empty plots of land for sale where people didn't rebuild. It's obvious the houses are still new, 20 to 15 years old. My heart was filled with love for this group of people who have suffered so much and recovered. That's what I wrote on that one. And then on a couple of the stickers, I wrote, for Long Beach, this beach has my name. Of course, I stopped. There was a photo of my dinner, and I wrote so much Gulf shrimp and was so wonderful. For my Saturday night dinner picture, I wrote love Saturday dinner and ice cream with them. And then I put a label sticker on a photo of a souvenirs building. It had an alligator on it, and I wrote a building with an alligator. I had to stop, shop, and photograph. I took a picture of some boats in port, and as I was walking away, I realized one of them had my friend's name on it, and I sent a text message to her. I zoomed it in, cropped it, and then sent a text message to her with the photo, and it says, found April Dawn's name on a boat in harbor. On a photo of me, I wrote on a label sticker, dressing for cool plus comfort and feeling pretty. And then on the photo of me with the ice cream on the beach, I wrote, never underestimate ice cream by the beach. And then on the bridge, I wrote Mississippi-Arkansas Bridge because it just crosses the river between the two. I believe it's the Mississippi River that divides Arkansas and Mississippi. Just a quick last check through my pages and checking to see if there's anything additional that I want to change. On this photo, I chose to use a 3x4 card that I wasn't super duper in love with, so I cut it down so that my photo would have a background. And there's not much else that I do to this album or these pages. It did take me quite a bit to do them, but I super duper love how they turned out. Okay, friends, that's all that I have for you today. Go ahead and press the like button if you want the algorithm to know that you want to see more videos like this. Go ahead and press the subscribe button if you want the algorithm to show you more of my videos in particular. I very much enjoyed hanging out with you today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I also hope that you got some ideas from my pages here, and I'll see you around the internet, friends. Bye.